The list of technologies that have accessed and faded away from our discipline within the educational context is not a short one. Whether it is computers, laptops, iPads, and most recently ChatGPT. None of these tools or others that have garnered a lot of hype throughout the years only to fade away were just a spur of the moment. Most of these technologies are developed over long periods of time, and they are shown or they are used in different formats at different times. ChatGPT as an AI, generative AI tool or application is a reflection of or an outcome of years and years of work with artificial intelligence that go all the way to the 1950s. There's a lot online about the history of artificial intelligence. However, at the present time, this is the forefront of what we have. However, going with the series of tools the limited series that I've just shown, one thing we can be sure of, this will never stop. Tomorrow there'll be another tool, and the day after will be another tool. And in the face of all of this, usually any new kid on the block or any new technology most of the time gets a particular hype by the majority of individuals. Everybody wants to make use of it, and everybody believes that it will change the landscape totally. A group of individuals and professionals keep swimming. We know this is coming and it will go. We don't have to go crazy over this. Things will change, and they just continue with whatever they are doing. And then there are the group who are so worried about how will I use it, how will it impact me, and artificial intelligence is one of those that really brings forth a lot of questions. That being said, regardless of the technologies that have come and gone, most of them go through a particular hype and then fading off and normalizing. And this is what Gartner Hype Cycle is all about. The Gartner Hype Cycle is a graphical representation that tracks the maturity and adoption of any particular technology, any particular field or discipline. It is presented by an advisory firm, the Gartner advisory firm, and the first time it was published was in 1995, and since then every year there's a Gartner report, which is usually provided as a framework for understanding the life cycle of different technologies. The main purpose is to assess the potential impact of these technologies, and it is mostly used in the industry to identify and make sure that their decisions are informed with regards to how would they invest in the technologies and move forth. Although it is more not applicable, more popular and familiar within the business and corporate sector and technologies, in the educational sector it's starting to garner some attention, particularly with the continuous applications that come in and fade out. So what's the Gartner Hype Cycle? According to the Gartner Hype Cycle, any new technology passes through different phases. Technology trigger, peak of inflated expectation, trough of disillusionment, slope of enlightenment, and plateau of productivity. The technology trigger, this is the phase where something new hits the market. Everybody's hyped about it, everybody's interested in it, there's a lot of discussion and talk. The peak of inflated expectation is when everybody believes that it is really going to make a major difference in the field. This is where everybody wants a piece of it, everybody wants to show that they are implementing it, and this is the cool thing to do. Then comes the trough of disillusionment, where all the promises seem to be not attainable. Whatever the iPad promised at the beginning, let's say, if I remember properly, it was around 2012, iPads were all over within the educational sector. By 2013, 2014, everybody was like, oh, it's not what I thought it was, and bring your own device was more of the norm. Then comes the slope of enlightenment, when everybody starts making use of it in a more informed capacity. For example, with the iPad, It definitely has affordances that helps with special needs, for example, or production of content, and that's where it started to get used more effectively and efficiently. So there's that growth again, once again. And finally, plateau of productivity, where it is being used for the purpose or within the context that it is most beneficial. The Gartner Hype Cycle, similar to any framework and any particular model, doesn't come without criticism. The main critique is that it is not supported by solid evidence. It is more observational, anecdotal. It depends on general surveys with thought leaders with regards to where it is being used, but it is not supported by strong evidence. It utilizes some really strong and misleading terms, with the disillusionment and enlightenment, for example. This is very judgmental. This is very judgmental, and in reality, it gives the impression that it is generalizable, which is not the case. Another critique is that it is highly simplified with no focus or attention to, okay, what is the action? What can I do based on this information and where a particular technology is? And the final and most relevant critique in the situation, a discussion that goes around, is it might be more revealing than deciding where a technology falls on this slope, coming up with a system or a model where with solutions to what can we do based on this information. With that in mind, this does not negate the importance of the cycle and the insights it provides us about technologies. After all, if there is one thing we know about technology and the technology industry, is that the only constant is change. So at the present time, we have generative AI being the new kid on the block. Everybody's interested in it. Tomorrow there's going to be another tool, the day after will be another tool, so on and so forth. With that, let's check. According to the Gartner Hype or Gartner report for 2023, in the education sector, the generative AI, such as ChatGPT and similar tools, these fall at the present time at the peak of inflated expectation. We can see that without data, without evidence based on our observations regarding how much investments are going into generative AI applications, how much investment is going into professional development and gaining skills on using these tools for educational purposes or other purposes and whatnot. We see it around us. The hype is there. Everybody's expecting generative AI to change the landscape totally. Now, according to the hype cycle, this will fade off in a short while. What are your thoughts? What do you think? I guess time will tell in the coming couple of years how things will change and which new kid will be on the block. If you're interested, share with us some of your anecdotes, some of your stories, some of your questions, and some of the aspects that you find challenging with new technologies within the education sector. If you have any insights about new technologies that are emerging, also feel free to join the discussion along with the EduBridges community.